Sadly, Irish singer Sinead O'Connor has died at the age of 56. And we don't yet know the cause of death. We do know, though, she had been suffering greatly since her 17-year-old son took his own life 18 months ago. She is survived by 3 other children. And, you know, I think over the years she had been quite open about her struggles with mental health and addiction. But let's find out a little bit more about her life with Eric ALPER, music historian and publicist. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon, Eric.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So she rose to, it seems to me it was like instant fame for her with this song. It was written by Prince. She had quite a tumultuous life, and we kind of were on the sidelines watching it all.
Yeah, you know, it's so easy to take for granted when you're a Gen Z and you, your favorite artists are more than happy to talk about LGBTQ plus advocacy, and they are very open talking about their mental health struggles, shedding light on not only the importance of mental health for everyone, but destigmatization of it all. Sinead O'Connor was doing it way before anybody else and paid the price for it. She talked about the a spirituality that she was always looking for. She was looking for peace. She was looking for happiness, and she did it all in the public eye. And, you know, for anybody that's 22, 23, 24 years old, like she was when she first broke with her debut album back in 1990 with The Lion and the Cobra, then having the #1 song in the world for the year with Nothing Compares to You when she was 24 years old, it would be a lot for anybody to go through. But the fact that Sinead O'Connor always wore her heart on her sleeve and her soul on her sleeve and her mind and spoke out is the mark of a true artist.
Agreed.
And there's not a lot of criticism that could be said about that one.
I saw her perform live in 1990 or 91, and it wasn't a huge venue. It was a fairly small venue, and she was just so powerful, so raw. And at the time, we just weren't seeing like now you've got like Lady Gaga now, you're not afraid to be ugly and let it hang out. But at the time, people weren't doing that. She was brave, and yet then she was kind of turned into a pariah, like you said, because she was so open about her struggles and then ripping the picture up of the Pope on SNL. How did she, she never really recovered from that, did she?
No, and I ended up working with her for a number of years.
Did
from
you?
2007 to about 2010 for her theology album. So I had a lot of time and opportunity to talk to her about exactly those moments. And she's always said, and she told me, and she speaks about it in her book, Rememberings, that her tearing up the picture of the Pope John Paul II on SNL was the best thing that ever happened to her, because it allowed her to move away from the spotlight that absolutely damaged her and took her on a ride that she ultimately was not prepared for. She didn't want fame. She didn't want success or Grammy Awards or gold albums. She wanted to use music as a way of healing herself and healing other people. And her ability to go from rock to jazz to blues to soul to funk to rap to reggae was just her own self-expression of it. And the ability... I kind of smiled when you were talking about Lady Gaga. This is not a marketing plan. Sinead O'Connor speaking out is not something garnering a lot of likes and attention on social media. She did it because she had no other choice to do, because it was within her, it made her, and that was brave with a capital B.
Yeah, I so agree. And again, I'm just imagining her in that era and how it was so brave at the time. What was she like? You said you worked with her, so you knew her. What was she like, Eric? Were you aware that she was kind of in that constant struggle?
Yeah, but she was also hysterically funny. The last time I spoke to her was about 6 months ago when she put herself in a hospital. Not surprising considering the suicide of her 17-year-old son Shane, that absolutely devastated her. But at the time when we were working together, she was in a really good place. In fact, I had something like 4.5 straight days of media, and this is everybody from the Hollywood type gossipy celebrity type media to the small blogs at the time. She canceled all of it and only did one. She did an hour hour-long interview with a rabbi on a local television show, and she loved it. And so the ability for her to do something like that, knowing it was going to affect her sales, knowing it was going to affect her reputation of being available, was just such an awesome move. And I loved her from her debut album and all throughout her career. But she was funny. She was in a really good headspace. She enjoyed doing things at her own pace and recording when she wanted to, touring when she wanted to. I don't even think, I mean, I've seen it all, and I didn't even think that, here we would be watching her kind of explode her life. And from the inside, in such a public manner on social media, from setting up tours to canceling them days later, from threatening suicide on Facebook, from disappearing for days. It was heartbreaking to watch all of that, and I had a feeling that most fans would kind of get the feeling like this day would come, but it doesn't make anything better.
I feel like I just want to say my condolences for your loss. I mean, you must be feeling that, and it must be a sad day for you. And she struggled with bipolar disorder, but I think, yes, we wondered if that day would come, but hoped it never would. That must be how you must have been feeling, Eric.
Yeah, I posted something, the very first social media post I did when I found out were words that I just can't say on the air. I mean, there's just no other term for it. It's just awful. The one funny story was that we were kind of late getting ready for the show, and we went. She was playing at Matthew Hall in Toronto, and we went across the street to the diner, and the diner is just packed with people getting ready to go to the show. And she got really hungry, so we went across the street, and she was right behind me, and I'm like 5'2", and she was like 5'3", so like we're not that much taller than one another. So she kind of cowered and hid behind me, and I walked up to the maitre d' and I said, is there any way that we can get a table? It's for Sinead O'Connor. I know we're in a rush, and I know it's busy. And the maitre d' looked at me and said, "Oh, I'm not a very big fan of Sinead O'Connor at all." And Sinead O'Connor popped her head above me and said, "You know what? There's times when I'm not a big fan of myself either." And you can better believe that we got the best table in the house after that. So that was that's her.
What a beautiful story.
She absolutely knew her reputation. She knew what people were talking about, and I adored her, and I think music fans are all feeling it around the world today, just by the sheer tribute and outpouring of love that's coming in for her.
Yeah, Eric, again, my condolences, and I just want to say thank you so much for helping us remember her with love and reverence. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yes, we will. That's Eric ALPER, music historian and publicist and friend of Sinead O'Connor.